A very good morning to all of you, my dear students. This is Shafiq Ahmed over here, and you're all welcome to your favorite YouTube channel, Let's Learn Together. As we all know, that we have started the chapter nationalism in India, and we have gone through the first session of the chapter, and we are on the second also we have done, and this is the third part of the video. So let us hope and move ahead that it is all understood by all of us. So what we have discussed in our previous class, that the congress session at Nagpur, they adopted the non-cooperation movement to start it. And when they have adopted it in the year 1920, December 1920, they have adopted in the Nagpur session of Congress. And what they adopted? Non-cooperation movement, that they will start both the things together. Number one, they will support the Khilafat movement. They will support the Muslim leader of Turkey, that is Khalifa, so that the temporal power, the worldly power of Khalifa remain intact. And next thing, the Congress party wanted to start this movement to get the support for Swaraj, that is independence. So they have launched the movement in the year December, in the year 1921, January 1921. So now we will discuss that how did the different social groups in India, different people, they consider the idea of non-cooperation, what they have done. So we have previously discussed the different steps of non-cooperation. Now everybody was knowing the steps of non-cooperation, how to know, how to not cooperate the Britishers. Everyone is knowing now. So we will see to it that how different social groups took the idea of non-cooperation and how they participated in this particular non-cooperation movement. How and why did they participate it? Whether they participate for getting really the Swaraj or the independence from the Britishers, or they were having some different ideas or different lust to participate in the non-cooperation movement. That we will have to go through in the next topics. So this image you can see, this is one of the image where people are boycotting the foreign cloth. They are burning the cloth of the foreign cloth. They are burning over here with the help of bonfire that they are preparing. You can see in the image also. Okay, that is the image of July 1922. Foreign cloth was seen as a symbol of Western economic as well as cultural, because people were saying that the foreign clothes are from Western. These culture, the Western culture, are dominating the Indian culture over here. Even the Britishers were forcing to adopt Western culture to the Indians. So that was seen as an enemy, you can see. That was seen as an enemy, that was seen as a symbol of Western economic as well as cultural domination. That's why people accepted that they will not use the foreign clothes. They accepted to boycott the foreign clothes. And this is one of the image from where you can see that a lot of people are engaged over here, and they are preparing the bonfire to burn what, to burn that Western clothes. Now let us see, we will see that different aspects went on in the movement. The non-cooperation Khilafat movement, see, now the movement of the name has changed and it is little bigger. Non-cooperation Khilafat movement, the full name is non-cooperation Khilafat movement. They are non-cooperating also, and they are going to support the Khalifa also of Turkey and the Ottoman Empire. And that started in the month of January 1921 year. Various social groups, they all participated in this non-cooperation Khilafat movement. They all responded to the call of Swaraj also. They all understood, they all responded, yes, we have to go for the Swaraj, means that is to get independence from the British government. So different people were thinking differently also. Let us see what happened to the people who were in the towns. Those who were in the towns, they were known as middle class people. How they have participated and why, let us see. Thousands of students, you can see thousands of students left government schools, even colleges. The headmaster who were teaching in the school and the teachers, who were teaching, and headmaster was controlling the school, who were, they all resigned. Students stopped going to government school and colleges. Headmaster, teacher resigned from the job, and also lawyers gave up their legal practices also. That was one of the stages of non-cooperation movement guided by Gandhiji. So people were acting according to that. Next, the council election were also boycotted in all of the provinces, in all of the area, because Congress, however, accepted, okay, they will not participate. But there was an exception. The exception was that in Madras, where the Justice Party, the party was of the non-Brahmins, the Justice Party did not accept this proposal. They were ready to participate in the council election, even it was not in one of the stages of non-cooperation. Non-cooperation movement was saying that they will have to boycott the election, but the Justice Party, the party of the non-Brahmins, did not accept this proposal. They told that they will not boycott the province, the election, because they were feeling that if they will be there in the council, in the legislative committee where the laws are being made, so they will be able to gain some power, they will be able to raise their or express their views in the legislative councils, something that usually only Brahmins had access to. What this means that the Brahmins were only capturing all the places in India. They were everywhere. So this party said that we will be there in the election and we will get some power. That was the thing they were preparing for. Then the next thing that happened in the middle class, that is in the town, foreign goods were also boycotted in the towns also. Even liquor shops picketed, means the shop which used to sell out those liquor or wine, you can say. So people used to block the road, so that block the path, so that people can other people cannot go there and purchase the liquors, purchase wine from there. So people were picketing means blocking the entrance of the liquor shops, means wine shops. So foreign goods boycotted, liquor shops picketed. You will have to remember these points, what really the action of the, what was the action in the towns, you will have to write. Foreign clothes burnt in huge bonfires, that let you see in the image also, no? They were burning down the huge bonfires, foreign clothes in the bonfires. Due to this particular non-cooperation movement, people were not cooperating. The import of foreign clothes which was coming from the Britishers, England, from which was coming from England to India, that really halved, 50% reduced between 1920 and 1922. In this 2 year, that proportion of foreign import of foreign clothes reduced to half, that is 50% have been reduced, their value dropping from 102 crore rupees to 57 crore only, almost half that was. So that was a great impact of this particular non-cooperation movement on the British government. They were really worried with this development of the non-cooperation movement in India. They were thinking to now clamp down this particular movement also. Merchants and traders also, they refused to trade in the foreign goods, or they will not finance foreign trade also. So merchants and traders were also with the non-cooperation movement. They also refused that they will also not trade in foreign goods or never finance any foreign trade also. People began discarding imported clothes. People stopped wearing imported clothes. They started wearing only Indian ones, means which have been produced in India. The Indian was just using the Indian cloth. So due to this, a lot of effect was going on, and the British government were largely affected due to this non-cooperation movement. Even see, the Indian textile mills, the production there increased. Production of Indian textile mills and handlooms went up and rose up high. So these people, the mill owners, the handloom owners, they were earning a lot of money during this time, and people were using the Indian cloth only. They discarded. But there were few drawbacks, or you can say disadvantages of NCM in towns. There were some lackings also. Khadi cloth, which was an Indian cloth made in India, was quite expensive, was more expensive in comparison to the imported cloth, because the labor charge over here was more. So it was quite expensive for the poor people. They cannot wear this khadi cloth because of financial reason. because khadi cloth was, in comparison to the imported clothes that previously they were wearing, was more expensive. So that's why they stopped wearing khadi cloth and they were back to wear that imported clothes once again, due to their financial conditions, because poor people were not able to afford to buy this khadi cloth because it was so much expensive. Next, there were no alternative options for the students and the teachers, for the students to learn and for the teachers to teach and earn some money. There were no alternative government schools or private schools where these students would go and learn, or where these teachers would go and teach. So because of this, after some time, the students and the teachers returned back to their government school or the schools of the British government, because there were no alternative options available for them. So they have to somehow have to go back to those schools. The teachers also rejoined, headmaster rejoined, students also went there to start study, so that they can at least get some education. Lawyers also joined back to work in government courts also, because they have to run their families also, na? Who will take care of their family if they will just resign and sit up at in their home? Then how will they manage their household expenses? So lawyers also joined back because there were no other options available for them. For how long they could sit alone and sit without a working? They have to earn. So that's why students, teachers, lawyers, everyone joined back. So these were few of the disadvantage, or you can say the drawbacks of NCM in towns, which was not quite successful in towns. Due to these drawbacks, the non-cooperation movement in towns were not quite successful, because after few or some time, everything was back to normal. Now we will have to see the non-cooperation movement in the countryside also, that is in the villages side, in the village sides. So who lives in the village side, in the villages? Mostly the peasants are living there. So we are going to look after the problems of the peasants, that is the farmers, at Awadh. Now where is this Awadh? Awadh is a place in Uttar Pradesh. So peasants were led there by Baba Ramchandra. Baba Ramchandra was leading, was the leader of the peasants in Awadh. Who was this Baba Ramchandra? Baba Ramchandra was a sannyasi, means you can say like Baba. He was a sannyasi who had earlier been to Fiji. Now, where is this Fiji? Let me show you a few details about the Fiji also. Now, you can see Fiji is a country in Oceania, a country in the South Pacific, having more than 300 islands. And they used to captive or kidnap people from other countries, and they used to take them to Fiji land, that place Fiji, and they asked them to work as a bonded labor. So Baba Ramchandra was also working in Fiji, but anyhow he was able to freed from there and he was back to India. So in India he was leading the peasants of Awadh. Because of their problems, he became the leaders of the peasants of Awadh. Let me show you what happened. So now we came to know about Fiji also and Baba Ramchandra. Baba Ramchandra was working as a bonded labor. Where he was working as a bonded labor? In Fiji. But he was back to India, and when he is back to India, he became the leader of the farmers, of Awadh. The movement here was against the Talukdars. Now, who are these persons? Talukdars. The people were revolting or protesting against these Talukdars. Let me show you about details about the Taluk. Here you can see Talukdar means what? An Indian landholder, means people who were holding land in the Mughal Empire also and the British Raj also. They were known as Talukdar. And these landholder people were responsible for collecting taxes from a district. So these people were having a power, power from the government side, that they will collect taxes from a district for the government. So they were having some government, or you can say support of the government also, these Talukdars. So why were the people protesting against these Talukdars? Now the movement here was against Talukdars and landlords who demanded excessive high rents. Means they were demanding more than what was fixed. Excessive high rents they were asking for the land. And other problem was that they were demanding other taxes also, more than one or more than two taxes. They were asking a lot of other variety of taxes also from the peasants. So these were the two reasons: number one, high rents, and number two, that a lot of taxes was being asked from the farmers to pay. That's why the farmers got angry and they started protesting against these talukdars, or you can say indirectly against the British government also. Peasants as tenant means what? Means if you are, if you have taken a particular house or land on rent, then you are known as tenant, and the owner is known as the landlord, we know. So peasants means farmers who were living as tenants, means who were living as a rental. They had no security of occupancy, means they were regularly expelled, means put out of their houses at regular intervals. Means they were not having security that for how many years the landlord will let him live at that particular place. The landlords, they were asking the peasants to leave their houses time and time again. Why they were doing so? Because they were thinking that after living for years, the farmers will not leave their house and they will acquire right over the land. They will say that this is their land and this is their house. That's why peasants who were expelled from their house or from the land regularly after 6 months or after 1 year, they asked, the landlord asked them to vacate the place. That was another problem with the peasants that they were facing from these talukdars and the landlords. So the movement was against two people: the talukdars, who were charging high rent and who were taking a lot of taxes from the people, and the landlords, what they were doing, they were regularly asking the peasants to leave their house at a small interval of time. So here the movement was against two different type of people: talukdars as well as landlords. Against talukdar, what was the problem was the lot of taxes. And what was the problem with the landlord? They were asking them to vacate the place again and again in quite time, in a quite sum of time. And other thing, peasants had to do beggar also. Beggar means what? Doing job without any payment. Peasants were asked, means farmers were asked to do free work, and they were also forced to work at landlords farms without any payment. Because why they were being forced? Because this landlord and these talukdars were having the support of the government. That's why they were able to do this type of thing with the peasants. They forced them to work at free of cost at their houses, even at their landlords, and even at their farms also. So these were few things that the farmers or the peasants of Awadh were having problem. Number one, excessive rent, the problem was there. Number two, this they will have to do beggar, that is payment without work. And other thing, that peasants were asked to leave their land, to leave their house at quite regularly, at quite a small interval of time. So these were the problem with the people of Awadh, I mean with the farmers of Awadh. Now what was their demand? What was the demand of the peasants? What they were asking from the government? Let us see. Number one, demand number one, try to remember this, all these things. Demand number one, the peasant movement demanded reduction in revenue. Means they asked to reduce the number of taxes, even the amount of taxes also. Revenue, that is the only source of the British government that they were getting from India. That was the only source of income from the Indians. So they tried to increase the revenue system, they tried to increase the taxes, but the demand was that they will have to reduce the taxes. That is one of the demand from the people of Awadh, from the peasants of Awadh. Number two, demand number two, abolition of beggar. They will not do any beggar, means they will not do work without any payment. They wanted that this system should be finished off. Now if they will work, they should get the payment. That is the another demand. Demand number three, social boycott of cruel landlord. That is very very important. Social boycott means, social boycott means no one will cooperate and help these cruel landlords in the society. No one will talk to them. No one will go to their to go there to attend their marriage ceremonies or birthday parties, like these things. Even no one will sell anything to these cruel landlords. No one will serve This cruel landlord, no one will give the service of barber, washerman service. No one will give this cruel landlords these services. That is known as social boycott. So people started that was another demand, that they will not provide any service to these cruel landlords. Even if they want to have a haircut, then they will have to do the haircut from their own self. No one will do the haircut for those to those cruel landlords. No one will give these services. And the other fourth demand was redistribution of land. The people wanted that the land should be redistributed among the farmers. The land actually was given to the landlords, you know, those who were having a lot of land. So the demand was that take the land from the landlords, those who were having, and distribute these lands among the farmers, so that the farmers would be the actual owner of the land, and they will not have to pay that rent of the land. Okay, they were ready to pay the taxes for the production. Whatever they will produce, they will pay the taxes according to the production and their income. But they were not ready to pay the rent of the land. That's why they demanded for the redistribution of land among the farmers. That was the fourth demand from the peasants of Awadh. Awadh, where is it? In Uttar Pradesh. प्रोटेस्ट बाय द पीजेंट्स. हाउ डिड दे प्रोटेस्ट? कैसे उन्होंने प्रोटेस्ट किया? ये तो डिमांड था. अब उन्होंने कैसे एक्शन लिया? एक्शन नंबर 1, in many places, Nai Dhobi Bandh, that was a movement, that was a campaign. Nai Dhobi, Nai, it means the service of barber, you know, who used to haircut. The service of barber, and Dhobi means washerman or washerwoman service. So the service of barber as well as the service of washerman will not be given to these cruel landlords. That was first done. So the movement the name of the campaign was Nai Dhobi Bandh. They organized, many of the panchayats organized this to withdraw landlords of the services of even barbers and washermen. You can see over here. So that was the first protest or action you can say over here. Next, by October 1920, they organized Awadh Kisan Sabha. Means this Sabha means committee. They organized this Awadh Kisan Committee, you can see, or Sabha, which was headed by Jawaharlal Nehru and Bhava Ramchandra and few others. And few others are also were the members. As you know, the leader of Awadh, the leader of the peasants of Awadh was Baba Ramchandra. So Jawaharlal Nehru also joined them, and they formed this Awadh Kisan Sabha. What was the work of this Kisan Sabha? They used to guide the people, teach the people, or train the people how to not cooperate the Britishers. So they started this Awadh Kisan Sabha in October 1920, and just in a quick success of time, they formed 300 branches all over the villages, or you can say in India. 300 branches of Awadh Kisan Sabha was organized, and it was headed by Jawaharlal Nehru. The work of Awadh Kisan Sabha was to train people how to not cooperate the government. In 1921, the houses of talukdars, that this is the thing that happened, that was against the concept of Gandhiji. In 1921, see, the house of talukdars, that Indian landholders who were collecting taxes. So the houses of those talukdars and even the merchants who were with the British government, the people attacked their houses. They looted the bazaars. You can see over here, the bazaars were also looted, and they also looted the grains, means the food items that were stored in some places in godowns. So the people started looting those or taking away those particular food items, and they also looted the bazaars. So now people, or you can say the movement, non-cooperation movement, turned into violence from here. The people were fighting and clashing with the government. See, because they started looting, they started violence. Let us see what happened next. Now we will have to see the conditions or the cooperation of the tribal peasants, means the people who live in tribal areas, the people or the peasants or the farmers who are living in the tribal areas. What were the problems of those people? See, the colonial government, as we know that we have gone through one chapter in grade 9. The name of the chapter was Forest Society and Colonialism in India. In that chapter we learned about the new forest policy that British government introduced in India. Due to that Forest Act, they divided the forest into three different groups: you know, protected forest, reserve forest, and village forest, where they were not allowed to go. These tribal people who were living around the forest, they were not allowed to enter into the forest. They were not allowed to graze their cattle. They were not allowed to collect fuel wood, means to collect wood to burn it as a fuel. They were even not allowed to collect fruits from the forest. So the people who were living there, these tribal peasants, the farmers there, were very annoyed with the British government, this new forest act or new forest policy. They were in great anger. New forest policy made the hill people, the people, mostly they were living in the hillside, so they were made angry because of this new forest act. Not only were their livelihoods were affected, yes, quite right, their livelihoods were affected, but their traditional rights were also being denied. They were thinking that they have this traditional right to collect fuel wood from the forest, to collect fruits and graze their cattle in the forest. That is their birthright. They were thinking about this, that is their traditional and birthright. So these foreigners have come to our country and they have taken this our traditional right from us. That made the peasants of the tribal peasants, that area, angry. And when the government asked them to work, to contribute, to beggar means again payment, work without any payment. So when the government started forcing them to do beggar for constructing road, for road building, then the people of those tribal areas, the hill people, revolted. They started protesting. Means that really filled the water up to the brim, and that was over the bottle, over the glass. That's why people started revolting over there. How did they protest? Let us see. In the Gooden Hills, name of the hill is Gooden Hills, and we are talking about Andhra Pradesh. Previously, we talked about Uttar Pradesh. Now we are talking about the tribal peasants of Andhra Pradesh, and the name of the hill where those people were living, Gooden Hills. So they formed, how did they protest, we are learning. So they formed a militant guerrilla movement. A movement known as guerrilla movement means they turned themselves like soldiers. They turned themselves, they collected whatever weapons they could collect, and they turned themselves into like soldiers, which Congress was not ready to approve, because the motto of the Congress was to follow the path of non-violence. But people over here turned into like soldiers to attack the British government, to attack British officers, to attack British offices, buildings. So Congress was not allowing all this to happen. And who was the leader of these tribal peasants? Their leader was Alluri Sitaram Raju. Would you like to see him, Alluri Sitaram Raju? You would of course like to see him, because let me give you few details about him. Alluri Sitaram Raju was claiming, means he was saying, he was giving guarantee to the powers that he is having a lot of powers in his hand, that he could survive even bullet shots. Means if someone will fire bullet from the gun to him, then he would survive. Means that bullet will not be effective on him. He was saying that I have the power, I can survive bullet shots. And what other he was saying, that he can make correct एस्ट्रोलॉजिकल प्रेडिक्शन, यानी भविष्यवाणी वो पूरा पूरा सही तरीके से कर सकता है. He was also saying that he can make correct astrological prediction, and even he can heal people. Means he can, if someone has got injured or someone has got cut, whatever wound, he can heal those people in seconds. He was saying, he was guaranteeing people all these things, that he can survive bullet shots, he can make correct astrological prediction, bhavishani kar sakta hai, bhavishwani, and he can also heal the people, he can also remove the wound of the people in seconds. He was just claiming all these things. So now this man is quite interesting, that he was saying that he was having great astrological powers. Let us see who was he. Alluri Sitaram Raju was highly inspired by the non-cooperation movement led by Gandhiji. See over here, Alluri Sitaram Raju was inspired also by this non-cooperation movement launched by Gandhiji, because he was convincing people to wear khadi cloth, that is Indian cloth. He was convincing his people, and he also convinced the people to drink, to give up this drinking alcohol also, so that the foreign wine could not be sold, and the British government will incur losses. So he was convincing people about this. Alluri Sitaram Raju was with the non-cooperation movement of Gandhiji, but he was not in favor of the path of non-violence. He was claiming, he was saying that India could only be free by the use of force. India could not get free by following the path of non-violence. That was his declaration. He declared in the public that India could only get free from the Britishers by force, means by following the path of violence, which was against the concept or teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. The Gudem rebels, means that the people who were in the Gudem hills, they revolted, they attacked police stations, they attempted to kill British officials also. They carried on this warfare, guerrilla warfare, for achieving Swaraj, to get independence. Means again over here you can see the people started following the path of violence. In Awadh also we have seen that there are people looted the bazaars, even they looted the grains from the godowns, and they clashed with the police. And here also you can see the people turned into violence. They are attacking police station. They attempted to kill British officials also, and they were carrying this warfare until and unless they get the independence, that is Swaraj, which was all against Gandhiji's teaching, against that non-cooperation movement, which was against the path of non-violence. At last, what happened with Mr. Raju? Alluri Sitaram Raju was captured by the British government, by the British police, and he was executed, means killed, in the year 1924. And over the time when he was killed in the year 1924, when he was executed, he became the local hero of that area. He became the folk hero, that is the local hero of that area. People started worshipping him or taking him as a hero, because he lost his life for the people of Andhra Pradesh, that is Kudem Hills. That is all in this video tutorial. We will all again meet our next class. For the time being, stay at home and be safe. And please do not forget to subscribe the channel, so that you can get more videos regarding to this chapter and other chapters of grade 10 also. Don't forget to press the bell icon also, so that you get the confirmation about the new release of the video tutorial. If you are new, then subscribe. If you have already subscribed, then ask your friends also to subscribe, and let us make it a big channel of India. That's all from my side in this video. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care of yourself.